You know what? I am sick of talking about the same 4 games over and over and over and over again. Well, at least till my next video. So in the meantime, I've compiled a list of 4 Spider-Man VR games that are so obscure you might never have played them before. Together, we'll decide if they're hidden gems or hidden junk, scoring them out of 10 depending on how underrated they are. And if I found you a game you haven't heard of before, hit the subscribe button. The physics in Spider-Hands are trash, the city is untextured, and the music is way too loud. I'll give it a 1 out of 10, because at least this whole thing wasn't a virus. This game caught my attention when I saw Nathy's video on it, back when it was exclusive to the Apple Vision Pro. Not long after, I tracked down the developer's YouTube channel and discovered the game was being ported to Quest 3. But several weeks post-release, even as a $13 bargain, it's only gotten 2 ratings on the Quest store, at the time of writing. Spatial Web Shooter just didn't generate the buzz I think it should have, because it's the only game where, without exaggeration, you can become Spider-Man in real life. Employing the Quest 3's augmented reality capabilities, the game empowers you with virtual web shooters. After doing a setup scan of your play space, these virtual webs will physically interact with real objects. You have the option to use controllers or hand tracking, but I of course went with the latter, because using your real hands to fire, let alone grab, pull and stretch webs, is an unreal experience. After that, I tried out Spatial Web Shooter's 4 gameplay modes. Treasure Catch came with 2 variants. You've got to web as many of these crystals as you can while avoiding doing the same to bombs. This was the mode I came back to most of all. Web Escape turns the titular mechanic against you, with a web-firing drone out to ensnare your 3 lives. I loved how this forced me to move around my play space. The third mode was Dinosaur Fight, a skirmish with a Ceratosaurus and its raptor minions. I enjoyed this, but I wish it ended a little sooner. Now, based on your performance in these minigames, you're rewarded with web points. These are redeemed for loot boxes, which contain props for you to use in free play mode. This is your playground to experiment. You can even unlock the Ceratosaurus as a spawnable prop, though far less menacing. As for future content, more minigames that incorporate your real-life play space would be super cool to see. What about one where holes get punched in your walls and you have to patch them up with your webs? But as it stands currently, Spatial Web Shooter is sensational. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. The Spider-Man knockoff name trilogy is finally complete with RopeMan, a $3 game I found right here on the Quest store. Like Spatial Web Shooter, it's a fairly recent release, making its early access debut on 21 March this year, exactly 1 month before my 20th birthday. And it seems that much like adulthood, RopeMan might not be that great. Its 8 ratings are a binary star system of great and terrible scores, so I guess it's up to me to find the barycenter. It's a little astronomy joke for you. I loaded into the game and was quick to discover my lack of legs and locomotion, but thank goodness, you can fire your ropes at the ground to teleport. Already off to a great start. I was shown the ropes some more as I walked around RopeMan's secret lair. Considering it's not hidden at all from the outside, I wonder if said secret is AI generated art. It's certainly not the sandbox physics elements, which I was shown and then seldom required to use in gameplay afterward. This piss-weak jump button was similarly useless, but more confounding was the button hold binding ability. You can't even see your ropes as they're tying 2 objects together. Thankfully, the titular rope swinging isn't completely abhorrent. There's a semi-progression system involving these collectible web coins, with each increasing your rope range by 5 feet. Outside of that though, there's a deficit of things to do. Some of that can be explained by the early access catch-all, but the unanimated dogs you're supposed to rescue are more questionable. I guess they're supposed to be campy, like intentionally bad. But even still, these motionless pups come across as lazy. But here's the twist. RopeMan actually does something I think more Spider-Man VR games should do. When you fly into a building too fast, it stuns you, and your rope launchers are momentarily deactivated. This adds proper consequences for swinging badly. It's way too egregious in RopeMan for my liking, but with some tweaks I think it'd be really cool. What if instead of deactivating your ropes, hitting a building blacks you out, or dizzies you for a few seconds? This would reward players for being situationally aware. Even blinded, we could instinctually web ourselves out of the way before we hit the ground. Combined with something like Far From Home VR's web ammo, swinging would become not only a movement challenge but a resource management one. But cool ideas won't mitigate RopeMan's mediocrity, so I'm giving the game a 5 out of 10. Spider Nerd made a video on this game about a month ago, which is how I came to discover it. It's a miracle he found it to begin with, because with a mere 5 reviews on the Quest store, it's as obscure as it gets. At the moment, it's only a free demo, but that doesn't stop Hyper Hook from being awesome. Grappling hook style movement is at the forefront here, and despite not being aesthetically accurate to Spider-Man, I adored it. Not only did they feel fast, they looked and sounded sick. My only gripe came from how they retracted. Normally in these games you maintain some of your forward momentum when doing so, allowing you to perform advanced maneuvers. Here though, you're more or less beeline directly towards where you shot the hook, which led me to bump my head a few more times than I enjoyed. However, I appreciated these web crosshairs. The hollow outer circle sits closer to you than the solid inner one, and only appears when an object is in range of your grapples. They come in handy particularly when playing the time attack minigame in this wide open arena. Shoot the glowing orbs as quickly as possible. But in my opinion, what makes Hyper Hook the most underrated Spider-Man VR game is its other mode, the level editor. That's right, everything you saw in the previous area now becomes a building block in this one. The 10-year-old in me who was addicted to making custom trials maps came to life, and I immediately got to work. I thought it'd be fun to recreate the office stealth mission from Battle Glide, and even though I gave up on that halfway through, you can still kind of see its bones in the final product. It came out looking like some sort of industrial factory, with more windows than a classroom full of computers, and going from the editor to real life scale was pretty crazy. I'm happily going to give this game a 10 out of 10 on the underrated scale, but an observation I made has me worried about Hyper Hook's future. According to the store page, the demo was released well over a year ago now. Game development of course takes time, especially solo, but the lack of any updates is concerning. Give the game a go, leave a review, and maybe we'll see it again soon. Thanks for watching.